And we're back. This is Hook and Ladder. This is the Bowls and semifinal post show. Well, I guess we're going to get started.
Some good playoff games, man. Some really good playoff games this week.
Speaking of good playoff game, how about Miami knocking off Ohio State 24-14?
After the first round, we kind of got, one good game. And then we got, a couple of,
stinkers.
Stinkers. The Oregon, JMU, the Ole Miss, Tulane, but the Alabama-Oklahoma game was good. Mm-hmm. What was the other one? Miami A&M was pretty good. Boring, low scoring, but some people like that kind of defensive showdowns. This round was much better for the most part. Miami, Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, excellent game. Man, Miami impressed me. That defensive line impressed me. Carson Beck looked good. He looked poised, looked like a fifth-year senior. He didn't make mistakes.
Ran for a couple first downs.
He did. He was running very well. Mm-hmm. Miami ran the ball well with their running back. Still, watching this game, I kind of felt, Ohio State's not out of this. Yeah. They get the touchdown with Jeremiah Smith. I'm thinking, okay, Ohio State's going to win this game. Mm-hmm. Because at that time, and they mentioned on the telecast, Ruben Bain and then the other guy, I forgot his name. It starts with an M. He looks like a lieutenant in the Iranian army. But that dude, they were tired. Yeah. They mentioned on the telecast, they don't sub very much. You could tell they were getting a little gassed. Ohio State was starting to move the football. But they just couldn't really get a sustained drive. Like Miami was doing a great job of when they would punt, they made Ohio State have to drive the length of the field. Now the pick six, they drove the length of the field. That pick six came after a long bomb to Jeremiah Smith. And that was a beautiful pick six play. But later in the game, I thought Ohio State had a chance to come back and get in it. And they just couldn't do it. Give Miami credit. They clamped down when they needed to. Scored a late touchdown to really put it away. Excellent game by Miami. Yeah.
One of the better matchups of the weekend.
Yes. Two juggernauts going toe-to-toe, knock each other around. Wicked physical game. Really weird to see Michael Irvin. Still looks like he's high. Just the way he acts on the sideline. Some of the positions and poses that home guy's in. I'm like, dude, you're on something, man. And then
he's living life at another level.
Yes, Ray Lewis was there as well. But great game. Really disappointed. I say disappointed on Ohio State. Ohio State was a clear-cut, odds-on favorite to win the Natty. It just goes to show you gotta. Doesn't matter how much money you spent on your roster, you've got to win the games.
That's right. Speaking of a team that spent a bunch of money in the transfer portal, Texas Tech gets knocked off by Oregon 23-0.
Another impressive defensive showing.
Yes.
Very shocked by Oregon. I didn't know that they had this kind of physicality in them. I thought that, they were a good defensive team, but if you can maybe hold them points, you could probably win the game. And, that still might be the case. Who knows? But they went in with a game plan and shut down Texas Tech, who had beaten everybody on their schedule by 20. Wow. Yeah. Impressive performance. And Texas Tech's defense, man, they came to play.
That score, 23-0, is a lot closer than
it was. I mean,
it was a defense struggle.
It was. That whole first half, there was some field goals. And Texas Tech, man, they were just kind of getting back up off the mat defensively and holding Oregon because the offense couldn't do anything. I mean, there was turnovers, everything, you name it. But, huge win for Oregon. Didn't really see too much of Dan Lanning taking dumb chances. Still kind of concerned. That's a thing going forward. They got a couple more games maybe, but huge win.
You think maybe the Texas Tech, the layoff kind of hurt them a little bit? And they had some momentum going and it just kind of
they could fizzle. I don't know. I think that's a good point. They've got some good players. They've the star rating guys because they got them in the portal. I just think Oregon's just a better, deeper team.
Yeah, I would assume so. Well, moving right along, Alabama got destroyed by Indiana.
I didn't see this one.
I didn't either.
I picked Alabama to win this game. Nothing against Indiana. Yeah, everybody knows I don't like him. I don't like Cignetti. I think he's a dipshit.
He's growing on me.
I still hate him. Just the scowl. I did find it funny when he laughed at the end of the game and smiled. I found that funny, but the scowl, I don't like it. I think he's an idiot. But I was loving this game because I hate Alabama. So I was loving it. But I picked Alabama to win because the reason being is that when you look at the star power on the offense and defense for Indiana, like what, 2 4-stars and maybe like 6 3-stars, and that's it. I thought eventually the Jimmies and the Joes were gonna outweigh the X's and O's, and man, I was wrong. They played like their rosters, recruiting ranking wise, were comparable.
Yes.
And they ran all over Alabama. They threw all over Alabama. The first couple of drives, Indiana was getting sacked, and Alabama was like, we're blitzing. They don't blitz too much, but they just went at it, and they sacked them a bunch of times. And I was like, all right, Alabama kind of came to play. And then Indiana, it was almost just like they were just like, all right, we'll let them get feeling pretty good about themselves, and then we'll start to play. Kind of like what Georgia did to some teams early in the year. Well, getting down early and then just kind of turning it on. And holy crap, did they turn it on. They never really turned it off. I mean, they were up significant. And they were like, let's just throw like a 45-yard pass down the field and go for another touchdown. I mean, it was ugly. Ty Simpson got rocked, got knocked out of the game. They brought in the backup. That dude brought him down the field, but really couldn't do anything either. I mean, it almost looked like they just swapped jerseys.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It was amazing to me just to see how Indiana was just so dominant. Ty Simpson took a shot, like, God.
Yeah, he's on the ground. He's like, oh. Yeah, his ribs are broken, or like whatever, cracked ribs or whatnot.
That's when they took him. He came out for the next drive, and after they were like,
I mean, Mendoza looks amazing. They got the wideouts they got. Surratt, the other guy, number 3, that scored a touchdown. Then the guy 80 scored the first one. I'm like, that's like 3 bona fide quality wideouts. And they had 2 running backs who looked like they were the same dude the way their bodies were shaped and looked. They were just going bananas, running all over the field. Huge win for them. Huge win. Going to be a tough matchup going against Oregon. Tough to beat a team twice. But now I would have to, I think they are now with the favorite to win, right? Indiana. I'm not counting on Oregon or Miami.
Yeah, I guess we're talking about the other game.
Yeah.
Ole Miss knocked off UGA 39-34. One of the better Sugar Bowls I've seen in a long time. It was a good game. If you didn't have any dogs in the fight, you would probably be like, man, that's a great game.
Yeah, I mean, Trinidad Chandler's right there. 362 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. He had 5 incompletions.
Yeah, he was a freak show all day long.
I mean, he had a huge game. And Georgia still had, we talked about it before we started doing it, in my estimation, there were 6 points in that game that if Georgia makes a play, they win that game.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include, like, making stops. You throw in the defensively, if they don't let Ole Miss get the 2-point conversion there in the fourth quarter, they probably win the game.
And make the field goal.
Yep, make a field goal. It came up short, which is very surprising because that guy's usually a good kicker.
Yeah.
That's within his range.
Yeah.
He missed a field goal. Ole Miss kicker was kicking like 69 freaking yarders.
Yeah.
But a huge game, really good game. Like I said, if you didn't have a dog in the fight, an amazing game. It was back and forth. Ole Miss took a lead. Georgia came back with, 2 touchdowns, consecutive drives, running the football down their throat. You kind of thought, okay, it's going to basically be like the first game where it's a shootout. Neither team can really stop them. Yeah. Although I felt first half, Georgia made some stops, made them kick some field goals, and then they went down the field, scored touchdowns, 21-12.
Kind of felt good about the game.
Felt good after the fumble recovery and scoop and score. Made it 21-12. They stop. Georgia stops Ole Miss. Ole Miss punts. There's just a shade. It was a minute 56 seconds left to go in the first half. I thought, okay, the way Kirby's been the last couple of years, they're going to try to get down and kick a field goal. They run a QB draw, which I thought was a really bad play call. It got blown up, loss of yards, and then it seemed like Mike Bobo was like, I'm going to go full turtle mode, and we're just going to get to the halftime. And it almost cost them 3 points. Yeah. They ended up punting. Ole Miss was moving down the field. They threw a pass to the tight end. Had he goes out of bounds, that's an easy field goal. But he tried to turn it back inside the field to play. I guess forgot how much time was up on the clock. He got tackled. Yeah. Time expired. Go to halftime, 21-12. Georgia gets the football after the half. Can't do anything, which was really disappointing. Yeah. Then they stop Ole Miss on 4th down inside the 50. And then Georgia misses a field goal. Yeah. It's like they couldn't capitalize on anything. They get momentum. They can't capitalize. And then all of a sudden, Ole Miss comes back with a score.
Trinidad Chambliss show.
they scored, and then they score again. Then Georgia ends up getting a field goal, and it just went back and forth. Georgia gets a late touchdown. They get the football, drive down the field. They're inside the 10 with just a little over like a minute 12.
Mm-hmm.
Can't punch it in instead of going, running it on third. I thought bringing the clock all the way down to like 4 seconds.
They didn't have any timeouts.
Kicked the field goal. Yeah, Ole Miss had no timeouts. They kept calling them because they kind of thought they were probably going to end up losing if Georgia scores a touchdown. Georgia can't punch it in. They throw it on third down. They give it the ball back with I think it was a minute 8 seconds, something like that, 58 seconds. They throw a long pass down the field goal, get in the field range, kick the field goal. Great game by Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Bad game by Georgia. I thought Georgia's defense didn't play good. They really missed Gabe Harris. Mm-hmm. I thought the offense played pretty bad. They made enough plays and scored enough points to win the game.
The backup safety ends up gets
ejected late in the second quarter. Actually, he was starting safety.
Yes. He was the backup to the guy who was already out.
Yeah. Just a lot of things kind of went wrong, really kind of for both teams, really. I mean, Kyron Lacy fumbles. He gets picked up, run back. If you score a defensive touchdown, the odds of you winning that game are like 88%.
Unless you're Georgia.
Yeah. But, man, that was a tough way for Georgia's season to end. I mean, I don't think Ole Miss has a defense to win the national championship, but I felt the way we've seen Georgia play against teams like Texas, Ole Miss early in the season, Alabama, the way we've seen them play when they are on their A game, I think they could have beat anybody in the field. Yeah. Same token, I think Indiana, Oregon, they could be, Ohio State can be anybody in the field. I think if Alabama's 100% healthy, they have the ability to do it. Maybe not as odds-on favorite, but you know what I'm saying? This field's pretty deep. Yeah. And I thought Georgia had an opportunity to win the whole thing, and they played a really bad game, and it bit him in the ass. Yeah. Not only did they play bad, I felt Bobo called a terrible game. One of his worst games of the year. One of his worst games.
When we didn't need him to call.
Yes, in the last 2 years. I thought this was one of his worst games he's called. People will say, oh, Kirby got out-coached. I didn't think Kirby coached a bad game. The fake punt was a brilliant fake punt. The fourth down call, he wasn't supposed to snap it. I get it. I don't think Kirby was that bad, but your coordinators, your defense coordinator led up almost 40, couldn't stop anybody. Your offensive coordinator wasn't really in his bag of tricks, so to speak. So tough game for Georgia. So Ole Miss advances. It'll be Ole Miss versus Miami on Thursday night, Oregon, Indiana Friday night. I think it's going to be a Miami and Mario Cristobal reunion with Oregon in Miami because he used to coach for Oregon.
You think Oregon's going to?
I think Oregon's going to beat Indiana. Indiana's undefeated. It's ridiculously hard to go the entire this is what 3 games plus 12, so there's 16 games. It's ridiculously hard. Right?
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. I just don't know.
Oregon's got one loss, which was to Indiana. I don't know if they play the way it'll be the game for the ages. I think it's Oregon, Indiana.
I think every team that's left can win it. I think
yes.
Ole Miss has showed enough the other night.
I think they're the least likely.
But I think there's enough there. They might actually do something. Indiana to me is the favorite. I think Miami is. Oregon is kind of neck and neck.
Yeah, I think the de facto national championship everyone will talk about is that Oregon-Indiana game. Yeah. But I still think, don't sleep on Miami because if they get there, that defense is legit. Yes. I think that defense can stop the run, and they're going to be able to get after whoever they're playing at quarterback.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not ready to go there. No. We'll talk about that next week. But it's going to be a great game.
Okay. Well, you want to talk about some of these bowl games now?
Yeah, we'll do a couple of them.
We got Michigan, Texas. Arch Manning looked phenomenal.
Looked really good running the football as well.
Yes.
Do you see that thing where they put him next to Saquon Barkley and he was faster on that long, 70-yard touchdown run than Saquon Barkley runs? Texas was without 9 starting players. Went to the transfer portal. The 2 starting running backs, half the starting defense went, and he was without his number 1 wide receiver, Ryan Wingo, for most of the game because he went down with an injury. So he was basically throwing to a couple of second-string guys, then a guy that well, I think his roommate was down in the transfer portal, that like Livingston kid. But he looked great. Michigan didn't look bad. I thought Michigan's much improved. I still am not 100% sold on Underwood, but I thought he played well. I thought he threw the football well.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game, and then Texas just kind of their talent
took over late in the game. You could tell they were missing the guys on defense early, and then like you said, the talent kind of took over late in the game. So big win for them. Michigan had Michigan's been doing well against SEC teams.
Yeah. How about Iowa knocking off Vandy 34-27?
I loved it. I know Diego Pavia went for 347, but I just really loved the fact that Iowa was able to take it to Vandy, kind of take them down a peg. You know what I'm saying? The best season they've had, I think, ever. They were 10-2. They went to a New Year's Bowl and lost.
Yep. How about this Illinois-Tennessee game? Illinois knocks off Tennessee 30-28. Is it time we start talking about how Heupel is just not that great of a coach?
Yes. Let's talk about Illinois first, though.
Okay.
Another big bowl win against an SEC team for Illinois. And I'm watching the game, and, I watched Illinois a handful of teams this year, the Flying Jerry Gertz. They don't stick out to me like they're crazy elite. Yeah. They've got a couple of good wideouts. The quarterback is all right, nothing great. I don't really see that they've got good tight ends or running backs.
Right.
But if they can do this against a team like Tennessee, who didn't really have they had one opt out, and then they had a couple of guys hurt on defense. They had one opt out on defense, a couple of guys hurt. That offense, the number one guy for wideout was out. Brazel, Brazel. Anyway, no excuses. But if they can do this against Tennessee, why can't they do this? In South Carolina last year, why can't they do this in the Big Ten? Yeah. They lost to the best teams they played this year, but they're not a bad football team. They're solid. Brett Bielema has them rolling, doing what I think the best they can do at Illinois. A huge win.
Yeah,
big win for them. And I know Brett Bielema loves this. Brett Bielema had to leave. He had to get fired from an SEC team in order to start beating the SEC.
Yes.
So good for him.
Go figure.
I like Illinois doing well.
Yeah. I think it could be a program 8-4, 9-3. That should be at least kind of where they should be at.
Exactly, yeah.
Still one from one of the big dogs every now and again. So Josh Heupel, what are we talking about here?
He never has a great defense. I think last year was his best defense, and I don't think that defense was all that elite.
Right.
He's a good offensive mind. He can draw up some plays. They can put some points on the board, but they're not physical. You saw this against Vanderbilt. They got run through by Vanderbilt. They couldn't make a stop. Same thing against Illinois. Illinois is not nearly as good, talent-wise, at the skill positions as Vanderbilt was with Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
But they couldn't stop Vandy or Illinois. They just couldn't stop either team.
Right.
And then they're putting up points. I guess to their credit against Vanderbilt, they kind of kept pace with them for a little bit. But they scored late here. They can score some points, but when they play a good defense, they don't score as many points as they need to, and they get run through every time they play a decent team. They just get run through.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Penn State ends up knocking off Clemson 22-10.
That's bad. Clemson was a preseason top 5 pick. Klubnik, senior 5-star quarterback, has really never. Now, granted, he had the game of his life last year against Texas in the playoffs and lost. He's never played that good before then or since then.
Right.
That's a 5-star talent that went to Clemson and didn't get developed. DJ Oogly Moogly was another one. 5-star talent that goes to Clemson, doesn't get developed.
Yeah.
They fired the offensive coordinator after that game. But if you look at Clemson's reign, they had Morris at offensive coordinator and Brent Venables at defensive coordinator. Yeah. When those guys left, Clemson, with the failure to do the NIL competitively and transfer portal, they just tanked. I thought if they did NIL and transfer portal, they could have sustained. It just wouldn't have a slow decline.
Yeah.
But when you lose those coaches and you don't do the portal and NIL, they went off a cliff.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and say next year, if he doesn't win 10 games, he's probably done.
Probably just hang it up, get out of the game altogether. Go to be a analyst or something.
Yeah.
TV analyst of some sort. Well, how about this Tech BYU game, the Pop-Tarts Bowl? It's a fun game. BYU knocked off Georgia Tech 25-21.
I think the most viewed bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. And what a season for Georgia Tech. Yeah. Drops their final 3 games, loses to Pitt, can't make the ACC championship game. Ends up losing to your biggest rival, Georgia. Then you lose to BYU. Mm-hmm. Then you lose your offensive coordinator, makes a lateral move to go to Florida. Then he takes your quarterback, who would have been a third-year guy in the system, backing up Haynes King. He goes to Florida with Buster Faulkner. Mm-hmm. And then they just lose a bunch of guys to the portal. I mean, they went from having a really good season to now they're going to potentially be a bottom feeder again next year.
I mean, they had a bunch
to see it. Hate to see it. But credit BYU, man. They lost 2 games. Yeah. Both of them with Texas Tech, who had a first round bye in the playoffs. Yeah. And, they didn't play great this game. They had to shore up some things in order to make it happen. But credit BYU for getting it done. That's a fun football team to watch. Bear Bockenmeyer. He's probably one of my favorite players in college.
Number 47.
I love it. Yeah, number 47 quarterback. I love it.
Yeah. You know what I didn't like about that game?
What?
They had 3 Pop-Tarts. 2 went down. I like it when they just do the one big Pop-Tart. They did the little toaster thing.
I missed that.
You missed that?
I saw the Pop-Tarts.
I liked the show.
I liked all the sprinkles.
Yeah.
Like everywhere. That was great. At the end of the game, the guys eating Pop-Tarts. They had new flavors just for the game. I like that. I didn't see them go into the toaster like usually.
See, there were 3, and they dropped them down. One of them said, I'm not getting out there. I guess they didn't have it made up for them, and it popped the 2 small ones out. So it was just smaller size. Normally, you get the one twice the size of this table.
Yeah.
But they only did like 2 this size, or half this size. So,
I like Pop-Tarts. I don't like them toasted. I like them right out of the foil.
I like the high protein ones they sell at the gas station.
I like them just don't even toast them, just put them right out. They're not cold, like room temperature. I eat them that way. Yeah. But good game. And like I said earlier, if I'm not mistaken, it's the most viewed of all the bowl games, minus playoffs, obviously.
Yeah. That's always going. LSU, Houston knocked off LSU 38-35.
Didn't watch much of that game. It was the later game. I think I watched a halftime and they were down. I watched the Missouri-Virginia game. Yeah. Big win for Virginia. They've had a pretty good season, minus the inexplicable loss to Duke in the ACC championship game. If they had won that game, they probably would have got in, and I'm wondering if Miami would have got in.
I don't think they would have.
And here we are, Miami's in the semifinals. But big win for Virginia. Another disappointment by Missouri. I look at Eli Drinkwitz kind of like Josh Heupel. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's the hype around them? They're okay. They're nothing great. When they win the games in the early part of the season, and then they lose to the best teams they play. The best teams on their schedule they lose to. Yeah. They can't beat any of them. Yeah. The quarterback, Zollers, looked bad. They didn't run it with Hardy nearly enough. They have nobody out wide that can scare you. They need help on their team, in my opinion, in order to compete for anything.
Yeah. There's no more bowl games. I guess yesterday was the last set of bowl games.
I watched a little bit. I watched Mississippi State versus Wake Forest. I watched a little bit of that game.
The Navy-Cincinnati game?
Didn't watch any of that. What was the other one I watched?
Arizona SMU?
No, that was another game. Oh, that was Friday. Sorry, the Mississippi State Wake Forest only game I watched Friday. I watched a little bit of Navy-Cincinnati, maybe last 8 minutes of the game. Watched a little bit of the SMU game. I pretty much watched everything on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
But a lot of good bowl games this year. Yeah. The earlier games, like the games that were still in December, like that week between Christmas and New Year's, like the 26th, 27th, 28th games, those weren't all that good to me. Usually there's like 1 or 2 decent matchups. I just kind of felt that, your New Year's Eve and your New Year's Day, those are always the big games, and those were the better games, in my opinion, this year.
Yeah.
So, but.
Yeah. You got Miami, Ole Miss at, 7:30 on Thursday night. And you get the Oregon, Indiana game on Friday night.
I'm gonna make the prediction and go Miami is gonna win. I think it'll be a shootout. I don't think they're gonna be able to get to Chambliss because that offense, they layer it. He gets the ball out quick. But I think it's gonna be a shootout. I think Miami's gonna win. And I think they're going to end up playing Oregon. I think it's going to be Miami, Oregon in the Mario Cristobal Coaching Carousel Championship.
Yeah, you're just all that confident about it. I'm definitely thinking Miami. I'm going Indiana. I just tell them about Indiana. Indiana may be the team of destiny this year.
I would like to see Indiana win. Let me tell you why. Some stuff happened today as well. Not to help them win, obviously, but for next year. They got a couple guys in the portal. Got a really good wide receiver from Michigan State, and then a couple other guys. As I mentioned earlier, they go, I think, 2 4-stars and a couple 3-stars, and then everybody was unranked.
Yeah.
This is a team that bought into what Cignetti was doing. Yeah, they paid some guys NIL to come there, transfer guys. But this is a team of not highly ranked guys that they coached up. These guys didn't say, give me all the money. They wanted to go and win. This isn't like a dude taking a bag and going to a team that hasn't won anything in significance of 8 years, okay? This is a group of guys that just wanted to win games. And if they win, a lot of coaches in this country will see, okay, Indiana can do it. Why are we paying this guy $2 million to come here and then not do anything?
That's right.
Let's get the guys out of the portal. I mean, that's an extremely portal-heavy team. You know what team? There was I think, 3 teams that weren't super heavy in the portal. It was Georgia, number 1. 90+% of their players were guys they recruited.
Right.
Number 2 was Alabama at like 6%. And then at like, I think 77, 78% was Ohio State. And Indiana and Oregon were down the bottom, and Ole Miss were down the bottom with like 30, 40% of their teams being portal guys. So yes, you can do it. We have, Miami too, Carson Beck. All those guys. Yeah. You have 4 teams in the semis right now that are heavily laden with veteran transfer guys that played a lot of football for their previous school and have brought that experience to their new team.
That's right.
And now they're in the finals. But Indiana's a little different because it didn't all have to do with money. Every one of these other teams, they paid dudes both.
They paid premium guys.
The rumor for Carson Beck is $10 million. Yeah. So I guess 2 Live Crew is, and then the other 2 dudes that were dancing around the sideline with the jerseys and the necklaces, those boosters paying all that money. But and if Indiana does it, a lot of coaches are going to be like, see, it can be done without breaking the bank.
That's right. That concludes this week's episode, and we'll do it again next week.
See ya.